How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've made a video, but I felt right now would be the perfect time to do it because Anchor is gone. If you have followed my channel for a little while, I know it's been a while since I've uploaded something, and mainly that's because I spend so much time actually doing the podcast. I don't have a lot of free time to make a video like this, but I actually can't upload anything right now, so I figured it'd be a perfect time to update y'all with what's going on. So I got this email a couple days ago, and it says Anchor is now Spotify for podcasters. So if you see that there, that means that it's changed its name. It's really the same. Name change is really all that I've noticed so far. I did get some surveys a while back from Anchor where they asked, what I thought if they changed their name and stuff like that. And granted, I'm sure they sent those surveys to a lot of people, but I said it probably wouldn't matter to me. It actually makes more sense because no one knew what Anchor was, and Spotify is obviously the huge name, so they made that switch. But I decided to take this opportunity to leave Anchor, and here's kind of the reason why. So I'm going to switch over to the money side so you can see what I've made with Anchor, and then I'll kind of tell you why I'm making the switch. So I'm logged into my account. I've got just under 5 million downloads total for my podcast. There's my audience size, current balance. Let's actually go to the wall. All right, so here's the money side. That's the total amount of money I've made from my podcast so far. Now that granted, that's just on Anchor. That doesn't count any kind of sponsors or brand deals that I got outside of that. So, keep that in mind. But so I decided to switch out for this reason here. So I did get a new ad. So I originally had the Anchor ad that everyone's familiar with. Now they just rewrote it to Spotify for podcasts. So it's the same ad. If you actually go to my podcast, you could hear it because it's still playing for some reason, even though I've poured it out maybe a few hours ago to change to my new provider. But you can see here the RPM, that's what they pay per 1,000, is 15, it's basically $16 on Spotify and then 12 on everyone else. So, that's not bad, right? I feel like that's okay. But then if you go down here and look at the automated ads, which this was a good program. They rolled this out, and when they did, I was excited because I thought, all right, I knew the automated ad, the sponsorship ad for Anchor, that couldn't go forever. How long are they gonna keep paying people to promote people to come to, that seems like a extreme loss because they don't charge to be on Anchor. And so I figured that would go away. It hasn't. It has cut off before, then come back on for me. But overall, it's been pretty consistent. But I knew that's not gonna last forever. So I knew I'd have to do something else. That's when I started talking to Megaphone. Megaphone is also owned by Spotify, but they are more of a premium level. Their base level membership is $250 a month, plus they charge a fee based on your downloads over a certain amount. So I think their minimum is 50,000 downloads a week, so you cannot join them. And I could be wrong on this. This is just what I remember from when I originally talked to them. But you can't join them if you're under 50,000 downloads a week. So if you're not there yet, Anchor is still the best place to go. And really, just any beginner, I still think Anchor is the best place to go because there's no barrier to entry. You just hop in. It's very easy to use. It has the app, all these great things that make it so simple, which even, Megaphone doesn't have those things. And probably part of the reason why I was holding out so long to make this shift. But I figured since Anchor has made this change, they're now Spotify for podcasters. And it was like, might as well do it now. One of the reasons I hadn't is because with the sponsorship ad, I could pay myself out weekly, which was really nice. And then the regular automated ads, which is like your Toyota commercial or something like that, that was paid out monthly. And so I was able to kind of have consistent income coming in by paying myself out weekly. And then I would get that monthly one, which would be like an added bonus. Versus Megaphone, which I'm switching to, that only pays out once a month. And it only has the Spotify audience network. So it's only those Toyota commercials and stuff like that. So you only get paid once. And I was kind of holding out because I liked being paid weekly. And even though I knew it was less. So this is kind of why I got to switch. I'm losing money by not switching. And there's a few reasons why, but let me show you this. So this is the automated ads thing, right? And so it shows what plays, but they only pay $13 on Spotify and $10 on all other platforms. So although that's great, and I certainly am happy that they do it, on Megaphone, I'm gonna be getting closer to $25 per 1,000. So that's almost double. And so when you do the math, it's a no-brainer, if you were making 5,000, that could put you up to 9,000, you know, so it's a no-brainer. So I decided to make the switch, and so now I'm switching over to Megaphone. So I'll do some update videos on like how Megaphone works. I'm not very familiar with it yet. It's gonna take me some time to understand how to upload something, how to put your ad spot in there, and really just get familiar enough to where I could tell somebody, because there's no content on Megaphone. I've tried to talk to people, like it's very difficult to find anything out, and that's because it's mostly like big brands that are on it. It's not, I think, a lot of individual podcasters. Most podcasters are still doing like Anchor or Podbean or, you know, all those other ones that are low barrier to entry, like they're beginners. And so I think, or maybe not beginners, but they're not at that professional tier status. Not saying I am, but like that professional tier status that big brands can get at, you know, if like ESPN's doing one or something like that. And so it was just hard to find stuff. So I'll continue to share it. I'll continue to talk about, you know, how to make your podcast successful. I've certainly picked up some trips. So I'll show you kind of some growth I've had. This might be valuable to you. So this is the analytics tabs on Anchor or Spotify for podcasters. And I'm still using this because, one, I just transferred everything over, so it's not accurate yet on Megaphone. But two, Megaphone is not as, I would say, user-friendly as this. Like, this is very just easy to use, simple, like very functional looking, like as far as understanding, versus Megaphone is not fancy. But so anyway, I've had some growth, right? I had a nice little drop here, of course. That is December, the month of December, which is terrible. But spent that time just really evaluating things, and then had a great January and popped up really high there. And then I've kind of held strong here, which I've had those pops before, you know, where you go up and have, you know, kind of go solid and go up. So that one was just a really good pop there, but hold steady, you know, that's kind of the goal, hold steady, and then hopefully keep growing as we continue to just move up and up. And there's one big thing that everyone can take advantage of why I think my podcast is growing, is more people are listening to podcasts. So there's just more people in the space like listening. And so who you could reach is expanding. And if you want to be part of that wave, you still can now. Like, you don't have to wait. Like, just get out there and start doing it. The other thing too is that more like bigger name people are starting to do podcasts, individuals, you know, social media types that I can see them, because I see them pop up on the charts out of nowhere. I'm like, who is this person? How are they all of a sudden way ahead of me? And then I go and they have like 1 million followers on Instagram or something. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. They just sent everybody over there. But then they start to fall down because they're not necessarily in the podcast like rhythm yet and stuff. So it's a different realm for sure and skill set. And so get in there now, because there's still a lot of attention, a lot of new eyes coming, or ears, I guess, coming to it. And, you know, it's just never too late to start. And I'll do another video soon. I want to get more into this. I've talked to a lot of you actually that reached out and listened to your podcast and gave you some feedback and stuff like that. It was really fun to do. I enjoyed it. And also it was great reflection for me on my stuff. And so I want to do more of that. I don't know if I want to become somebody that's like a podcast expert or something, but I do like coaching. That's what I do. I like helping people succeed. So maybe I'll do more of that. I thought about doing a course on Fiverr, like putting a course on there, or like some kind of professional thing where if you want this specific service, like maybe help you with your first 5 episodes or something like that, doing that, because I do enjoy this. Like, it's really cool, the podcasting thing, just like fitness. I've always enjoyed working with personal trainers and stuff, helping them succeed. But like podcasters, because they're super into whatever it is they're talking about. So I'm probably not usually into the subject matter that they are, but I'm really into somebody that is passionate about something. And so usually these people might be, you know, maybe it's like a certain car, like they're into some car that was built in 62 that, you know, is a super rare car that no one talks about. And they're going to build a podcast around this, right? Like, of course, that's not going to be a huge podcast, but it's got a niche network and that person is like super into it. So it's fun helping people do something really well on a subject that they're really passionate about. So I do enjoy that. So maybe there'll be more to that. If you're interested in something like that, shoot me a message on Instagram, please, because I haven't been as active as checking this channel and replying to people. I try to, but ultimately I still have a podcast that does like takes up most of my time. You know, I'm not one of those people that's teaching people how to do something that doesn't actually do it, or, you know, used to do it and doesn't. Like, I'm very much active in it, and I spend probably 3 hours plus more now, because now I've got like a Facebook group and I'm coaching more people. So, 3.5 to 4 hours a day on it, plus still working full time, plus being married, plus having kids. So that's why I haven't got over here as often as I'd like, but I want to, and I will do more for sure. So if you want any of that, please reach out on Instagram. That's the best way. Like, if you reach out on Instagram, I'm more than likely going to get back in touch with you pretty quickly. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.